Hi everyone, so I'm back. I wasn't going to, but God will use His children to encourage. So this morning I had a dream, and I wasn't going to share it because I had another dream after that, and it kind of made me go, no, I don't want to share this dream if that's the way they're going to take it, or if that's the way they're taking my life, like it's fun. Sorry. Very emotional dreams, that's why. Um, so I'm going to start with what I did yesterday. I got up like normal, um, sat with God. He had me drink a couple glasses of wine. He's like, liquid courage. I need you to be courageous to do this. In the back of my mind, I knew he wanted me to go where I was going, but I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. So he started me by going to Walmart to cash my check, which there was an issue cashing the check at Walmart. And then God goes, the lady at Walmart suggested going to the bank next door. I wasn't going to go because banks tend to hold your check for 5 days or a period of time. And I was like, no, I need my money now. God goes, go. So I walk over and I was talking to the young man. He was one of the bank tellers, and the manager, the branch manager, stepped in, and he goes, "Hello, can I help you?" And I'm like, "Well, I need to cash my check," and the lady next door said, "You guys might be able to help me with that." I don't know. I think if I hadn't have gotten the confirmations that I did while I was sitting there, this man was very nice. He was very helpful. He was very a little too nice. He started to give me the he liked me vibe, like personally wanted to go. And he did. He asked me for my number, and I said, look, I am willing to be a friend, but that's about as far as it's going to go. And he was like, no, 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 it's just friends, you know. I'm not, and God, I've been praying, saying, God, please make sure he understands that he's a nice man. He has a good job. He works as a branch manager for a bank. I mean, any woman would be very happy to have him as a husband, but he's not mine. Okay? And I know for sure the man that God has for me is my husband. Okay? Like, I ran. I ran from this man when we worked together. And God kept bringing him back and bringing him back. So if it takes a year for us to get back together, then it takes a year. It'll be at God's timing, not mine, because he's got to go through some things. He's got to be willing to accept God. And yes, he's taken the first step, but if you remember when we first said yes to God the second time, it took a while. You know, he had to strip us down. He had to take us down to a place where our ego was done, our flesh was done. We weren't looking at things from our perspective, but from God's perspective. So I don't know how long that process is going to take. I know how long it took for me. Maybe it won't take as long. Like Bold for Christ says, you know, it could be tomorrow. He could be done tomorrow. I don't know. But I have to wait on God. I cannot walk through that door unless God leads me to. So yesterday, so this happened with the bank, and I kid you not, the man called the place where I used to work to verify that the funds were good and available so he can go ahead and cash the check. And I was like, aren't you supposed to call the bank? Like, that's normally the procedure. But I didn't say anything. I just let him do him. When he gave me the card, my bank card. I haven't had a physical bank in 20 some odd years. The last bank I banked with was Bank of America, and they were doing some very fraudulent things. It came out, that they were taking charges from. They were causing problems for people's accounts, so that they could charge the late fees, the overdraft fees, the overdrawn fees, and they really put a lot of people in a bind because of the practices that they were using. And I stopped banking with them right before that happened, because I started having issues with my checking account. I was like, wait, I know what I'm doing, and these charges shouldn't even hit yet, because they were which is why I don't do auto payments, because Lucifer can get in there and he can mess with things. And that was what was happening, is they were taking the payments that were set up to be paid at a certain date at a certain time, when the institution would bring it to, because they always do, they set it up in the system to be charged on the date that you give authorization for. But the bank that you bank with can choose when that transaction gets processed. And that's what was happening. If my rent payment wasn't due until the 1st, but I had it set up to draw from the account on the 1st, but it was my rent, the place where I was renting would put the payment request in, set it up in the system, say on the 29th, when I got paid on the 30th, so that I would have money for the first rent. Because, sometimes your bank account, you have money in there, but you don't have all of the money, because you're working paycheck to paycheck. Not on God's bill, but when you're working in the world, that's how it works. And that's what I was doing. I was setting myself up. And so what they would do is they would charge my rent. Well, I only had half the rent, so then they would charge me an overdraft fee, and then they would charge me a penalty for being low on funds. And I'm like, but my paycheck was supposed to cover that, and you charged it on the 29th, and it's not supposed to be charged until the 1st. And this is what they tell you. Once it's charged, there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm like, okay, so take away the auto payments, take away all this. I'm going to make sure that I do it on my own, because I can do this by myself, or I would do cash. I don't. So I haven't had a physical bank, because when I went to work for a finance company, they had a bank. And so because I was an employee, I got the opportunity to be a bank, to participate in the bank. And so I never had any problems. Like, everything went in the way it's supposed to be. I had it on auto payment. I had it, everything was good. So when I left the company, I stayed with the bank, because my ex-husband and my daughter worked there as well. So I still got the privileges of an employee, even though I didn't work there anymore. They've since left the company, so now I'm going to be put back into a regular account without the protections. And God goes, no, you're not. We're going to put you somewhere else. I was like, but I've been waiting on God. So I haven't gone to go get a bank account. I was doing Cash App, because that's what God said to do. Now he's opened up the door for me to have an actual bank account. So now I'm... No. Pup. No. Leave it. Leave it. Go lay down. Good boy. Okay, so my neighbor's outside with her dogs, and he gets very pointed when she's out there. So he hadn't opened that door, and I was like, when I walked up, and this man is so friendly, and he's like over the top, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, Father, I need you to confirm that this is what you want me to do, because if it's not, then I need to be able to, bring it back. When the man hands me my debit card, the temporary one before the official one comes in, The numbers on the bottom show the card number, my birth date, the month, the date, and the year are listed on that card. And I'm just like, what are the chances? And so I know this is where God wants me to have my bank. And I'm like, okay. So then from there, he didn't even send, because I was supposed to get groceries and then go home, drop off everything. He didn't even let me do that. Like he had me ask the man for $100. So I got $100 out. And then I was like, okay. And I was about to go get groceries. And he goes, no, go drop off the paperwork at home. I'm like, okay. So I was obedient, got on the bus, went back home, came here, dropped off the paperwork, went back out. I was headed back to to the store to go get coffee and creamer. And then I had to put money on my card. So I was going to go do that. And God goes, no, go on that bus. Go that way. And I was like, okay. So he had already told me that I was going to go to this area that I went to. But I didn't think it was going to be right then. I thought it was going to be later. And so when I got to the location, and he goes, okay, now go get your eyebrows done. I was like, all right. So I went and I got my eyebrows done. And then I went, and I was going to go back on the bus. And he goes, no, go get a drink. I'm like, okay. So I went and I got a drink. And oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I was not expecting to see my friend, Hannah. She was there. And she's like, oh my God, how are you? And now, I've told a few people that I've left my job. She's the only one that cheered me on. And I was like, and then she goes, oh, guess what? I know a friend. I have my brother-in-law works at this restaurant over here in Old Town, which is the same location area where my husband works and lives. And I'm like, okay. And then, so she's talking to me and we're excited. And then she's telling me about this bartending opportunity that she got. And I was like, okay, you had me apply at a bartending place. You had me apply at the bartending school. Now you've got her talking to me about bartending. I'm like, okay. So I have to wait for God to open the door so I can go to this restaurant and find out what's available. And maybe it might not even be in that restaurant. It might be a different restaurant. But God wants me in that area because that's where I need to be. So that's where I'm going. But I don't know when. So, so then, as I'm finishing up, I wasn't going to get any food because I'm like, I'm on a budget. Like, I need, and God's like, stop it. Buy food. I'm like, but you're sending, and then I'm like, wait, I was just going to argue with you that you're sending me to go eat sushi, but there's a sushi place right here, and that's not where I'm going. And because he dropped it in, he had shown it to me earlier, and I was like, no, not going there. Because I don't want to go there out of my own flesh, out of my own will. And so, but God kept bringing back prophets that he's had confirm his word. And he goes, this is the beginning. How you enter this area, this portion of time is going to be how you are going to receive your blessings. If you don't have faith enough in me to walk this way, then you're letting fear take over. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, about the dream. And so I was like, okay, Father, if it's your will, if it's your, and he wants me to show you. Okay. Back in 2024, April 8th of 2024, he said, 12th hour, new beginnings. And I was like, and then time to prepare. He gave me Philippians 4:12, to be content regardless. Hebrews 4:12, quick, power, stronger than a double-edged sword. Stronger than a double-edged sword. Remember that. Isaiah 40, verse 12, God's ability to know all. He did not have me read the passage. He said, what is this about? What is it? What is the feeling that this gives you? And so in Philippians, he's telling me, be happy regardless of what's going on around you, even if it doesn't look like it's supposed to. And I'm like, I'm still here. I still don't have a job. And I'm happy. I'm content. Because in the humble beginnings is when you need to be content. I am celebrating my father because, I did not wake up this way. Okay, so, and there's a lot of things that happened today or yesterday. So then he had me in Genesis 24, where Rebecca goes and does what God wants her to do, to be with Isaac. And I was like, okay, Father, I don't know what you're going to do, but if he doesn't show up, I understand that this is part of the process. I get it. Because he didn't give me the feeling that I'm going to see him, because I know when I'm going to see him. So the reason that I had to go across town to a restaurant that is in between where he lives and where he works. As I was on the bus, God was leading me to pray, and he said, but not yet. I'm like, okay. As soon as I crossed the boundary into the area that is that is where God wants me, I literally started to pray and asking God to come in and asking God to step into the area and just release whatever evil was, remove whatever evil was in that space. And I did not stop praying until I got to where he works. That was when I finished praying. And I was like, okay. So as I was, and I'm still going, because he led me to tell a couple people that, I left my job. And one of the bartender goes, why don't you work here? And I was like, oh, you guys are hiring? And he goes, let me go talk to Kevin. Now this man, every time I'm there, he always comes up to me and says hi. And he goes, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, and I was wondering what was going on. And I was like, oh, well, left my job. And he did one of these. He took a step back. And I was like, huh. God knows your hearts, not us, All this time he was being nice to me. He was being friendly. And God showed me in that moment that he would have been just like all the other managers. He would have been just like all the other men that have tried to keep me down, have tried to push me down into, and I was like, okay, no, I know that behavior. I know that attitude. That's you wanting me to beg you for a job. Not happening. And so I didn't say anything else. I just let it go. And then God sent me on my way. And so when I get to the restaurant and I'm sitting there, God says, ask to be by the window. Okay. So I asked to be by the window, and this is an all-you-can-eat sushi place. So they charge you a set price, and then you can order as much sushi as you want. But they want you to be cognizant that you don't over-order so that you don't end up with extra. Okay? And so I was sitting there, and I was eating, and I was enjoying myself. I had a glass of wine. And then I started feeling this heaviness on my chest. And I'm like, Father, what's going on? And I started feeling this fear grip me. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what was happening. Because I don't have fear. I completely trust my Father that he's going to deliver me from this place and deliver me from this life. How it's going to look, I don't know. I just have to be obedient and walk. But, so, let's get into the dream. Okay. So in this dream, I was a watcher. Okay. And I was standing in what looked like a living room. And I was just standing there. And I could see the area. And then this man walked into the room. And he was agitated by my presence. And he was like, "You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be in this room. Like, why are you here? You shouldn't be here." And I was like, "Okay." And then my husband walked in. And he looked at me. "Apollo, lay down." So then he as he turned, I saw something attached to his neck. Like, and I was like, "What in the world is that?" And I walked over to him, and this thing that was attached to him began to let go. Like I could see the legs start to spread. It's almost like what is wrong? Come here. Relax. It's okay. It's okay. Stop. It's okay. It's okay. Shh, 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 shh. It's okay. Lay down. And so when this thing started to let go, out of the corner of my eye, as I'm watching him, out of the corner of my eye, I see a little girl running. And this thing started unattaching itself from my husband, and it ran, like it ran, and it grabbed, like, I can't even explain, but it's like, it was like two animals in one. So it looked like, Apollo, enough. So it looked like the body of, like an alien, from the movie Aliens, where it would open up its legs like this, and then it had like a very long tail, but it didn't have a tail, but it had a long body, and the head was like claws, but it reminded me of the carpenter ants, the ones that have the little pinchers in the front, but think of those pinchers like full head size. And it didn't have a head, like it didn't have eyes or anything like that. And it like darted towards the little girl, and as she was running, her skirt flipped up, and it just barely grabbed the end of her skirt. And as soon as it grabbed the skirt, I saw a hand, and it felt like it was my hand, grab this thing and pull it. And this thing, because it's got the legs and it's trying to grab itself to the arm. I felt like it was my arm, but it wasn't my arm. Like, I'm a watcher, so I'm watching this happen. And then suddenly, the claws of the claw head started like slicing at this arm, and I could see the scars, the cuts. No blood was coming out, but I could see the cuts. I could see the different indentations. And so, oh, and I forgot to say, when I got home, so I wear earrings. I had them pierced 2 years ago, re-pierced, because my earring holes had closed up. And so last night when I got home, my ear was hurting so bad, and I'm like, what the heck? And so I took off my earring, and it literally looked like it was inflamed. And I'm like, "Father, what the heck?" And he goes, "Leave your earrings off. Don't put them on. Put them on in the morning, and it'll be fine." I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. And so, so this dream was early this morning, and I'm going to go back to what I was feeling last night as I got home, and then what I felt when I was laying in bed. And and then talk about this dream and the meaning that God gave me. Okay, so, and I knew this little girl was my daughter, and I had to defend her. But I'm watching this, but I'm seeing it like it's me, but it's not me. I'm just watching. And so this parasite is grabbing onto the hand, um, and I'm squeezing the neck. And as I'm holding onto it, I began to pray and asking God to give me the strength, to give me the courage to destroy this thing. And all of a sudden, I started to see a bright light. Like I'm watching this happen, a bright light come out of my center chest. And it engulfed the entire room. Like there was not a, like it started small and then it just took over the room. And suddenly, when the light was gone, the parasite was gone. And I was like, and then I woke up. And then God, I'll wait for the second dream. Because God is not leading me to talk about it just yet. So, last night, on my way home, I began to feel fear. I began to feel anxious. And like, I started to question, like, Father, what if the man that I met today is basically you telling me that Ben isn't my husband? Like, he's not meant to be with me. Like, I had it all wrong. Like, I didn't hear you correctly. And it wouldn't be the first time, but I saw all the signs. I saw all the, and so I was starting to fall into the fear, into the the abyss. I started to go in there, and so God's like, start praying. And I did. I started praying. So I get to where I take the next bus to go home, and he says, go to the store and get something to drink. And I was like, I don't want any wine. I don't want to do wine today. I'm just going to buy 2 bottles of water. And that's what I did. I bought 2 bottles of water. And I told them, because these are people that I know, they're people that I've talked to periodically throughout the time I've been working at the restaurant. And I said, hey, I'm not there, and I'm leaving the store. I'm going somewhere else to work. Now, God led me to ask them because they're always complaining about how they don't have reliable staff. The woman is the manager. And when I said what I said, she goes, oh, well, good luck. And I'm like, okay. I didn't ask her if there was a position available, I didn't ask Hannah if she knew of anybody that was hiring. Hannah volunteered that information. She goes, this restaurant, my brother-in-law works there. Let them know that I sent you. I'm like, okay. But God has already been putting the breadcrumbs. He had me apply to this bartending school. He had me apply at that bartender job. But the door wasn't open yet. And the door is not open yet. Remember, when I first got to the pizza restaurant, I wanted to go to a different place to work. And God led me to that restaurant. And the day that I showed up, 3 girls had quit. Like, just no notice, just today's our last day, adios. And they were like, how are we going to cover these shifts? Because they were shorthanded. They didn't have anybody to cover those shifts. So basically, I took their shifts and I worked a full 2 weeks worth of work in 1 week. That's how badly they needed people. And they forgot. They forgot what I did. They forgot how I supported. They forgot why God brought me there. They went back to their old ways. They went back to, they didn't appreciate, they didn't thank God for bringing someone because they needed someone. So now I'm gone. And now they're going to reap the judgment that God has for them. And may God have mercy on their souls. But So when I got home, I was not feeling well. Like, first off, I had eaten way too much. And that was God saying, you're about to have more than enough. You're about to have more than you need. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. I receive. Whatever it is you have for me, I receive. And so I get home and I put everything away and I start to feel like a failure, like I didn't hear God right, like I overstepped, like I went ahead of him again. And so I laid down and I started asking God, I'm like, did I do something wrong? Did I misstep? Did I not hear you correctly? Because I know he's perfect. It's not him. It has to be me. And he said, sit in your feelings for a moment. And this is before I had the dream. And he says, are these your feelings? I said, no, because there's feelings of unworthiness. There's feelings of despair. There's feelings of anguish, of desperation, almost like they made a mistake, like they did something wrong. And he goes, and have you done anything wrong? I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, I haven't hurt anyone. I haven't stepped out of where you have me, except for when you tell me to. And he goes, that's because this isn't about you. And so he gave me this dream to understand what is happening to my husband. So this parasite, because that's what God called it, this parasite is the spirit of fear. And if you look back through my recent words, I talk about a debilitating fear that grips your body and just encases you in this fear. And literally what I saw, this thing, the way I saw it moving, is exactly how I felt the fear in my body. So this thing attaches itself at the base of your spine, and it grabs you, and it puts its trying to move my hair. It puts its claws, the head, at the base of your neck. So you have these two claws on this side, two claws on this side, and it's just pricking you, putting fear in you, debilitating you. So when I saw this, I understood what it was.